Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Make It Monday at the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum. My name is Sarah and I'm the Education Coordinator, and we are bringing a few special editions of some of our online programs this week because it is Frost Fest week here in Brookings, South Dakota, where the museum is located. Normally we have some big events at the museum that bring in a lot of people, which isn't very smart right now with the pandemic that's going on. And so since we can't have our usual events at the museum and those are on pause until next year, we're doing a few videos for you so that you can do some activities at home this week and safely. So the first activity that we're going to do this week is actually a farm animal snow globe. And this is something that you can customize and create to make with whatever you have on hand at home. And so this is a fun one. We're going to do it farm animals today so that it relates to the museum, but really you can customize it with whatever you or your kids are interested in. So let's go ahead and look at what supplies we need. The first thing that you'll need is something to use as a container for your snow globe. Now you can get kits that you can pick up at a craft supply store or at an online retailer for a snow globe kit, and that's what this is. You can see it has a snow globe shape and it has the lid that you unscrew here at the bottom and you make it right in here. These are about $5 online is where I found mine, but if you don't have this at home and you don't want to wait for this to come in the mail, don't worry about it because you can use a lot of other things as well. You can use a mason jar and just invert it and have whatever you're doing on the snow globe on the lid end, and then this is your dome at the top, so you could use an old mason jar. You could reuse something that you have in your house, like a candle container, for example. This is a candle from a place that I buy candles at a lot, and I usually repurpose these jars when they're done because they're glass and they're super nice. And so when your candle is all burned out of a container like this, you can take the lid off, put whatever your bottom of the snow globe is on the inside of this lid, and go ahead and invert this, and then your dome will be the candle container when you're done. So that's another option for a container. You can also use things like spice containers that are empty that you clean out and take the label off of. You can use that as well. Flip it upside down and glue whatever you want for your snow globe on the bottom of the lid here and use that as well. So you have some options. Like I said, you don't have to buy this snow globe container if you don't want to. You can just use and repurpose things you have at home. The next thing that you'll need are some small toys that fit inside your container that you're using. Today I'm using a little pig and a little crate and some apple toys here. These are just some things that I had around at my house that I decided to put in my snow globe. Whatever you use, you're going to want to make sure that it's something that's non-porous. So plastic is nice, glass is nice, ceramic, things that are set in resin, something like that. You don't want to put anything that's like wood in this because that will soak up water and it will make it kind of gross inside. So you can use some toys. You'll also need some sandpaper. You'll want to use some super glue or some hot glue. I'm using super glue today because I've had a not so great experience with some hot glue before. And once you get third-degree burns from a hot glue gun, you don't go back to those. You'll need some distilled water, and you'll want to use distilled water because over time, if you use normal tap water or just drinking water, it will cloud your snow globe on the inside. So make sure you use some distilled. You'll want some clear glue, and we use this so that the glitter that you put inside your snow globe, it will fall to the bottom a little bit more like normal snow, and it will kind of float down like traditional snow globes. If you put it just in water, it will still look pretty, but your glitter will sink pretty fast. So if you put some glue in it, that will help out sink that glitter a little slower. The next thing you'll need is some glitter. I have a few different types of glitter here today. I have just traditional normal glitter that you would use on a regular basis. And then I also have little snowflakes here that I'll use as well. And then the last thing that you'll need is a spoon. You'll use this to help put glitter into your snow globe and then also to stir your contents together as you're getting ready to finalize what you're doing as well. So those are the supplies you'll need. Let's get started. The first thing that you'll need to do is figure out what you're using for a container. And once you figure out what you're using for a container, you'll go ahead and open that up. You'll want to take your sandpaper and you'll actually want to sand the inside of your lid or the flat surface you're using for your bottom. And then also sand the bottom of your toys, whatever you're using. And by using that sandpaper, it'll rough up what you're gluing together and it'll make the glue adhere a little bit better. And so you'll want to make sure to just use any sandpaper you have at home just to rough those edges up a little bit. The next thing you'll do is use your glue to glue down your items. And I already have done this ahead of time because the glue that I'm using, you'll want to make sure that whatever glue you're using, you follow manufacturer instructions. This glue that I'm using said to let items dry for 24 hours before you use them. And so I went ahead and did this yesterday. So everything is glued down and set in stone and ready to go, but just follow the directions on your glue you have at home and you should be set to go. The next thing that you'll want to do is start adding water to whatever container you're using. And so I'm using my Snowglobe container, my kit today. And I'm also using just a roll of tape to keep this from rolling all over the place as I'm adding my water and liquid and stuff like that. When you're putting your toys onto your base or your lid or whatever you end up using, another tip that you'll want to make sure you follow is to ensure that it fits into your container. You don't want it to be too tall that your container doesn't close. You don't want it to be too wide so that you can't get your items back in. You want to make sure that it goes right back in, which this does, so we're good to go. So the next step you'll have is taking your distilled water and you're going to start filling your container. I'm going to fill it about 2/3 to 3/4 full. You might need to add a little bit more later, but you don't want to fill it all the way to the top because you will have some space that gets taken up by your toys as well. The next thing you want to do is use your clear glue and add a few squirts of this. And I started out with 2 pumps there into my container. You can always stir all this up once you get your glitter inside, and then you can go ahead and add more if you'd like. But since I'm just starting this out, I'm going to use what I have in here and then add more if I need it. So I've got my glitter open now. I'm going to use my spoon here and measure out some glitter. I'm going to put 2 spoonfuls of my normal glitter in. And then I'm also going to add in some of these fun snowflakes that I have. And I'm using kind of a clear iridescent glitter, but you can use whatever you have on hand at home. If you wanted to have purple snow, you could have purple snow. It doesn't really matter as long as you enjoy what you're putting in. So I've got some snowflakes in there. And again, with the glitter, just like the glue, if you get things done and you decide that you need more glitter in there, you can go ahead and add that in later. I'm gonna just top it off with a little more water here. And I'm gonna go ahead and take my spoon and stir this around, just so that that glue gets really nice and mixed in with the water. And at this point, you should be able to see how your snow and your glitter moves around on the inside. Mine looks like it's at a pretty good consistency, so I'm going to go ahead and stop. Now, your next item that you're going to do in your next step is you're going to put your items glued to your lid inside the snow globe. And so this could get kind of messy, and so I'm actually going to move this from my tape and I'm going to do it over a bowl just in case you have some water spillage. Then we're ready to go for that. but this is going to be kind of just a loose fit to see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this upside down. Make sure I have it on the whole way. And I'm going to hold it tight. If you have a container where you have a screw-on lid, you can go ahead and screw your lid on tight. But this step, you're just going to make sure that you have enough water in. And so I'm going to go ahead and flip it upside down. Mine looks like it could use a little bit more water. I have a little bit of headspace here at the top. So I'm going to take my toys back out and add some water. Then we're going to do that process one more time. I added a little too much water this time. So this is a good example for why you do this over a plate or a bowl or a sink. And I'm going to flip it over again. And I can see that I don't have a lot of headspace, so that I'm good to go. Now, after you have this step done, the last step that you'll need to do is dry off the edge of unscrew your lid or take your toys out, and then you'll use your super glue or your hot glue again to glue around the edge of your lid or the edge of your container and put that back in, and then you'll want to let that dry according to manufacturer directions again. Now I'm going to do that off camera so that I have a little bit more time to get glue where I need it. You don't have to sit and watch me painstakingly put some glue on here, but you'll always want to make sure you have the help of an adult or a parent or a grandparent or somebody else that's older when you're doing this step if you're a child. And so once you're done with that, then you let your glue dry according to directions, and then you'll have your fun snow globe that you can put and have in your house. So this was another episode of Make It Monday with the Agricultural Heritage Museum. If you have any questions on this activity or any of our other activities, contact the museum, and you can talk to me, Sarah. My contact information is online, or you can talk to one of our other museum employees as well. We hope you have a great rest of the day and stay warm out there, and happy Frostfest.